playing my trumpet, and another knock on the door, and it was Ornette, and he said, "Are you gonna go to the funeral?" And I said, "No, I can't go, I don't have clothes. I just have the clothes I have on." And he said, "Well, you don't need clothes, you just go." So I went, and I was in St. Peter's Lutheran Church on Lexington Avenue. It's since changed, it's not the same church anymore, but it's something there, kind of. And in the balcony was Ornette Coleman's band and Albert Eiler's band, and I heard them play. And I saw John Coltrane in his coffin, in a kind of orange dashiki. I've never seen a color photograph of that. I've seen, in this film called Chasing Train, you'll see a little bit of, you see a shot of Coltrane in this film, but not in color. Those colors are very vivid to me. And after the service, I went and I was standing outside of the church. I mean, people were coming out and so on, and I heard people saying, like, you know, like, who's going to be, Coltrane's gone now, who's going to be the new Train? And somebody said, yeah, the last of the late, great finger wigglers. And I thought, interesting. And I was just standing there, and Ornette Coleman came out again, and he said to me, he came out with Billy Higgins and a drummer named Harold Avent, and he said, "We're going to Long Island to the cemetery, do you want to come?" Why did he say that to me? I have no idea, I never figured it out. And I said, yeah, okay. A Cadillac limousine pulled up, I jumped in, and here's this conversation with Ornette and Billy Higgins and Harold Avent, and off we go to Long Island to the cemetery. I think John Litweiler has something in the book about Ornette about this too. But I have even more of that story. So I went there, and we were late arriving because of traffic. And one visual that's deeply ingrained in every fiber of my body was seeing Ornette standing over Coltrane's grave with this tent over the gravesite. And only Ornette did. There are no photographs. I'm telling you, so now you got it. But there were no photographs. So later that evening, I went back to Barrow Street, to that apartment, because the recording session was the next day. Another knock on the door, and it's Ornette, and he says, "We're playing at the Vanguard tonight. Do you want to come?" What am I going to say? Yeah. So I went, and I heard Ornette playing a version of Naima, John Coltrane's piece, and he played a lot of things that sounded very much like Charlie Parker. And Ornette recorded everything on a little Nagra tape recorder. I don't know if you know, they were very high quality reel-to-reel tapes at that time. So there were not that many people in the Village Vanguard that night. And when the session was over, I became an Ornette groupie, carrying his saxophone, walking down 7th Avenue, stopping in some chicken joint for a chicken sandwich, and going back to Barrow Street. The next morning, it's now the 21st of July, and I go to Brooklyn to this recording session with Clifford Thornton, the man who owned this trombone. I was with him when he bought it, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Well, we go to Brooklyn to the recording session. I walk into the room, and who is the bass player? Jimmy Garrison. John Coltrane's bass player. And I didn't know what to do or say. And I did my best. I don't know. There's a recording called Freedom and Unity. If you can find it, you'll hear all of what I'm telling you. Not all of what I'm telling you, but about the recording. And after that, I became kind of a groupie for Ornette. I don't live in New York City. I live in Poughkeepsie, New York, which is about 75 miles north. And whenever I heard Ornette was playing in the city, I would go and drive him to the gigs and carry his stuff. I wasn't groupie. And one time I was at Village Gate, and Ornette was on a double bill with Miles Davis. And Miles didn't have very much respect for Ornette, especially his trumpet playing. So I'm sitting at a long table with Clifford Thornton, the owner of this trombone, and some various people, and Charles Moffett, for some unknown reason, picked up Ornette's trumpet and wouldn't put it down. And he played it. And many people don't know that Charles Moffett was also a very fine trumpet player. And, you know, So the next day, Charles Moffett was out of the band and Billy Higgins came in, and then eventually Ed Blackwell replaced him. So now you know that story about how that happened, and I happened to be sitting right there when it happened. So that's enough of that for now from me. Now, what is this? This trombone, I was with Clifford Thornton when he bought it in 1965 in Würzburg, Germany. And in when was it? 79 or so, I had a concert in New York at WBAI radio station, and Clifford was teaching at Wesleyan University at the time, and I invited him to play, but he came and he didn't have the trombone. He had a baritone horn. And I said, what happened to your trombone? He said, oh, somebody stole it out of my Volkswagen, whatever. No, that was 1971. 1979, I'm in New York City, and I thought, I'm on 48th Street, there's all these used music shops and so on with instruments, and I thought, I always wanted to play a valve trombone. I walked into one and I said to the guy, do you have a valve trombone? And he said, yeah, I got this German model. And I thought, what does that mean? It's usually a con or a king from here in the States. And I looked, he said, yeah, there's the valve. This part here was in the window. And I thought, oh my God, that's Clifford's horn. It was this model. You'll never see one like this. It's a short, compact model. You never see one. They're a little bit longer, of course. With the valves, they don't have a slide, but they're bigger than this. And I said, I know that one. And I was with a friend, Craig Johnson was his name, and I said, if the case is maroon and gray, buy it, no matter what it costs, and I'll pay you when you come back. And he took it. And that night, when I got the horn, I called Clifford Thornton, who was in Geneva. Am I talking too much?
No.
Anyway, I called him and I said, does the number 872 mean anything to you? He said, what are you talking about? I said, that's the number on the trombone that you bought in Germany. He said, how do you know? I said, because I'm holding it. And I said, I've got to come to Geneva and I'll bring it. He said, nah. He said, I've got a king now, so you keep it and you play it. And I've been playing it ever since, or trying to. And inscribed on this bell is the name of the shop where he bought it in Würzburg, Germany. And it was like, I got goosebumps right now thinking about, what do you think the chances of that happening? Who else on the whole planet could identify this one? And it ends up with me.
Fate.
There's more to the story. I will indulge me for a moment. Today would have been the 85th birthday of Pauline Oliveros. I don't know if you know who she was.
Yes.
Yeah.
An extraordinary person who lived in the Hudson Valley near where I live, and we became very good friends. And so I thought, the three of us were in Houston just a few days ago, where she was born. And I had a chance, after Fred and Michael left, to play a kind of tribute for Pauline. So we're going to do something today.
We went to her elementary school.
Oh, yeah.
We stood outside of her elementary school.
Something.
Cage Elementary.
Not John Cage.
But I said that was like Rufus Cage. Rufus Cage Elementary in Houston is where young Pauline went. I'm sorry.
The most extraordinary human being, and the planet is blessed for having her been around for a while. So we're gonna play something. I don't normally play this instrument. I've never played it here in Milwaukee. I've recorded it with let me see. With a friend of mine named Andre Jean, we recorded with it, and also with Jeff Bishop, a duo called the Brass City. But rarely does it ever come out. So if it's a big mess, it's not my fault. It's Pauline's fault. So we're going to do a little bit of a tribute to Pauline. Hopefully the spirit that she's put in the air